Okay, welcome. Very sorry for being late. I hope that you are doing well. Once again, we are live, and I just made it back from Chicago. As you know, it is a place that I truly love, Chicago and Glenview. I had an incredible trip. Before that, I was in Detroit, another place I love. Right now, Detroit is rocking out their Grand Prix, so excuse the sounds of racing behind me. Normally on my Friday streams, I don't have any specific talking points. Good evening, your local Spurs. Rather, I just talk about anything in general that we want to discuss when it comes to Freemasonry, any questions or comments they have. I did, however, notice a couple of really interesting things that I wanted to bring up. I thought it might be relevant, but I'm going to wait the first 60 minutes, as always, no specific talking points. I'm just going to wait to see who joins for the first 60 minutes and just any discussions they want to have, positive, negative, or neutral, and I'd love to hear it. Let me just pin this. But I did notice a few stories, a few reports, things that apply to Freemasonry. I think that apply to Freemasonry, anyways, that I want to make sure I at least touch on. So, all right, but that is after the first 60 minutes. The first 60 minutes, we just hang out, wait to see who joins, and wait to see what you guys want to talk about. Very sorry for having to rearrange my camera. All right, let's give it some time. There's a few different things I wanted to discuss, though. I don't follow sports, your local Spurs fan, but that's basketball, right? Spurs versus Thunder. Aren't the Knicks doing pretty well as well at the moment? I think that's a big thing. Also, we have the Grand Prix happening right now in Detroit. You can hear it behind me. I arrived in Detroit this morning just before the Grand Prix was getting started, but I was seeing the setup. It was pretty incredible. Just to see the amount of setup and the amount of work happening there was pretty unbelievable. So, are they facing the Knicks? Like, who's in the finals right now? Okay, just the Knicks. All right, so that's why all my New York fans are so excited. Because I keep hearing about these Knicks. How about them Knicks indeed? But I had, as I mentioned, an absolute blast, a wonderful time. First and foremost, I had a wonderful time at the Rusty Nail Degree in Detroit, and I had a wonderful time at Hesperia Lodge in Chicago, with Zion Lodge and Hesperia Lodge, I should say. But for the time, by the way, Masons, if you're a Mason from New York or you're a Mason where the Spurs or the Thunder are from, celebrate your team. You're a community member first and foremost. Don't forget that. And being a community member first and foremost means making sure you support that community, including the sports. Even if you're not a fan of it yourself, the economic benefits of seeing your team do well are not nothing, and it matters. I mean, honestly, your local Spurs fans, the activities you can do as a Freemason are limited almost exclusively by your imagination. I mean, when it comes to sports, you can organize a field trip or a Masonic trip to a sports game. Especially what I find is, major league teams that can be very expensive, but very often there's minor league teams that are desperate for community support. And they will offer you discounts if you get, 10 or 15 Masons to all go together to this event. And they'll even mention you in the, during an announcement or whatever it might be. Or organize a tailgate party, or organize a viewing party, like if it's an away game, have a barbecue. I once went to a Prince Hall Masonic Lodge in Florida. Obviously, I could not attend their meeting, but they were having a barbecue, a parking lot barbecue, which I got to hang out at and eat some very delicious food. You can organize, uh, you can organize uh, a murder mystery night. You can organize a knitting club, a cooking club. Really, it's up to you and your heart's desire. And that's one of the coolest things about Freemasonry is you have so many opportunities to do so many different things. I think it's one of the best parts about Freemasonry is the opportunities to try so many different things. Cricket is my sports as long as I don't think I'd handle a 5-day test match. Welcome everybody. Thank you all for being here. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. Thank you to Illinois Freemasons and thank you to Detroit Freemasons for your wonderful hospitality. Thank you to Illinois and Michigan in general for your wonderful hospitality. I truly had a great time these last couple of days. You can hear over here, we got the Grand Prix happening in Detroit, hence the sound of people racing outside my window. Who is Schmeckel? No, I mean, obviously you should not be doing drugs, but in terms of drinks you can't consume, no. I'll say, though, for alcoholic drinks, you have to be responsible, respectful, and obey the laws of your local country. So, for example, you shouldn't be consuming alcoholic drinks and then driving, obviously, um, is one such thing to keep in mind. And obviously, if it's a Masonic Lodge meeting, like a formal meeting, you should not be consuming alcohol before the meeting, at least not to the point where you're intoxicated, right? That's not okay. Well, I think Contradiction Gamer, as a general rule of life, um, excess of anything is the problem, right? I always think excessive anything is usually where things become a problem. Now, there are some substances that I think, because they're so addictive, there's no such thing as moderation. But even that, I think it's better if you can possibly always try to just harm reduction, if nothing else, if that makes any sense. No, it doesn't, David Solomon. No, it doesn't. So, uh, don't be driving while intoxicated, obviously. Levi, people can mention Jesus if they want. That's perfectly fine. People can mention whatever they want. Obviously, if they keep mentioning that exclusively and nothing else, eventually they'll be suspended because this is not a religious channel. But if that is their faith, they're welcome to bring it up. I'm fine with that. Good for you, Nathan. So that's 18 years without drinking, without consuming alcohol. No problem with that at all. Good for you. Like I said, it's hard to stop drinking. So if you manage to do it, you should be proud of yourself. Especially, I'm not sure how much of a problem it was for you, but I think you should be proud. Tuco, isn't that the dude from Breaking Bad? I'll take it. I mean, I think for a lot of people, alcohol can cause problems in terms of I think for a lot of people, obviously, alcohol can create problems in terms of lack of motivation as well as physical illness, without a doubt. Hello, Lord. There are gay Freemasons, there are straight Freemasons. Does not make a difference. Please take a moment if you're new to the stream, hit like, hit subscribe. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, let me know. It'll cause a lot of people's stomach issues, I think, not just you. Hello, Masonic. Hello, Courtney. How's it going? Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. Please take a moment, as always, hit that like button. Consider a super chat. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral. I'd love to hear it. I don't know what you're drinking every day, but I feel like drinking water is probably a good thing to do. So if you're not drinking any water, maybe reconsider and drink some water. Just a suggestion. I heard about that, I think. I think somebody mentioned that, which is awesome. I'm knocking on wood for him, combining two of my favorite cities, two of my homes, Windsor and Winnipeg. Staying focused is a good thing, Masonic. Well, I appreciate the fact that you subbed. If it's my warm aura, all the better. I hope that you're doing well. I drink a lot of coffee too, Nathan, so you and me both. Especially on days like this when I've been traveling so much and not getting a lot of sleep, coffee becomes incredibly important. But I also got a lot accomplished today, so I'm happy about that. Welcome back, Indian Fact Television. My day is going well. How is your day going? Down it. I'm not going to do that because I want to make this water last a little bit. I mean, any coffee is good coffee as long as it's got caffeine, is my philosophy. But again, we should probably be careful and be somewhat safe about it. I'm glad it's going pretty well. It's going pretty well for me as well. Thank you to everybody who helped me with this channel by subscribing. You may notice I am now over 4,050 subs. We are slowly but surely getting to 5,000. Every sub helps, every share helps, every super chat helps. Um, and so I'm truly, truly appreciative of it. Um, Israeli is a state. I mean, that is a political opinion. Freemasonry is not political. I don't think that's the case. I'm actually a member of a lodge in Israel, though I have a lot of concerns with the government of Israel. This is me speaking personally, and I have a lot of concerns with what Israel's doing. I think it's horrendous. I don't think that applies to the whole state because they get a new government in there. I think they can change their policies, and I hope that they will. But that doesn't apply to the people of the state, who many of whom are my brothers and are Masons themselves. Once again, we got the Grand Prix happening behind me, so that's where the sounds are coming from. Maybe one day it will be, Nathan. Who knows? Maybe one day, I believe a two-state solution. Maybe one day we'll even see Freemasonry in Gaza. Who knows? Anything's possible. Oops, as I got a fly there. For the time being, we're just going to wait to see who joins. Please take a moment, hit like, hit subscribe. Any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral? I'd love to hear them. I mean, maybe things can change, though. I believe countries can come back from these type of atrocities happening to them. People are resilient. People are pretty much, I think, incredibly resilient. And because of that, I think maybe it'll come back. You know, and I think so long as the people of Gaza are the ones who are making, not necessarily making it come back, but have control over the economic benefits of the comeback. Um, I mean, basically, it's just a way to demonstrate engagement, Dad. Mark, I mean, if you're asking me what I think Israel should have done after October 7th, it was send in the, I mean, I'm not a military expert, but I would have sent in the special forces to find as many of the hostages as I could as soon as possible and get them back over the line. And limited airstrikes that target exclusively uh, Hamas is what I would have done. And I would have tried to limit the number of civilian casualties to at least an equal number as certainly no more than what happened on October 7th. Because at this point, I think it's like 10 to 1, something like that. Again, I think it's more than that actually. Again, this is my opinion, not the opinion of Freemasonry. So keep in mind, many Masons have many different views on all of the Middle East. No worries, Douglas Marks. Thank you for being here. If you want to support the channel, another way to do so is joining my Patreon, super chats, likes, subscriptions, all the rest of it. Whoa, all right. No claiming anyone is a Cancer. That's not how it works. Or any religion is a Cancer. That's not cool. And I don't know if anybody saw that. Nobody saw that comment. Part of being a Freemason, and one of the things I'm really proud of when it comes to being a Freemason, is we need to remember there is no such thing as any religion that is quote unquote a Cancer. We want to support them all, be respectful of them all. I would agree, Nathan. Though I would say it's not Israel that went too far, it's the government of Israel that went too far. We need to be careful that remember that the people of Israel, it's a very different thing. I think we in society always need to be able and willing to separate the people from the government. Because otherwise you get into some really dangerous territory. Your Roblox, it wasn't, some people can't see it because it was hidden by YouTube, but basically somebody claimed that Islam was a Cancer. It's not. It's a religion celebrated by many people, observed by many people, many of whom are good people that help make the world a better place. So, there you go. Jay Kennedy, I am a Mason, and this channel is meant to promote the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. 39, I can't speak for your dad, but I'd like to think you can trust me. I am Cameron. My name is Cameron Adams. I'm not sure who this Phil character is, but nonetheless, thank you for being here. Please take a moment. Hit like, hit subscribe. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, please let me know. I had a couple different things I wanted to talk about, but I always spend the first 60 minutes just hanging out and chatting about whatever, no specific talking points. It's the second 60 minutes where I have my specific discussion points, and I'll give those to you soon. Kieran, I do not, Jay Kennedy. Freemasons don't follow any figures like that because Freemasonry is not a religion. I think you read some. Albert Pike, Morals and Dogma, and completely did not understand to what it was referring. So no, you are. You need to take another look at More Than Dogma. There's no following of the light bearer or any such thing within Freemasonry. Do I think God exists? I believe in a supreme being, Indian Fact Television. I just don't believe in necessarily a religious version of it. Like, I wouldn't call myself a Christian or Muslim or Jewish. I'm not that. I am, however, a believer in a supreme being, as all Freemasons are. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't, Nathan. There are modes of recognition. To figure out what it is, you got to join. You look like you collect money from late. I don't know what even that means, Buck. I do this for a living. I'm not collecting anybody's rent. I pay my rent. And if you want to help me pay my rent, hit like, subscribe, leave a super chat. So my supreme being is the rational nature of the universe as expressed through science and geometry. For some, if they're Christian, their supreme being will be Jesus. If they're Muslim, their supreme being will be Allah, right? It's whatever religion you are, that is how you will understand your supreme being to be, or whatever your beliefs may be, if let's say you're more spiritual than religious. So the idea that there is a singular Masonic supreme being is not how it works. Every Mason is free to worship, free to understand the supreme being as he so chooses, or in the case of women Freemasons, he or she so chooses, um, which you need to keep in mind. I don't get paid for being a Freemason. I don't get money. Like, I don't know what you mean by have you made money from people from the Brotherhood. Nobody from the Brotherhood is like paying me to be a Mason. Now, I'm trying with this channel. My goal is to turn my passion for Freemasonry into profession through content creation. So I hope you'll hit like, I hope you'll hit subscribe, and I hope that you will provide some super chats to help me do so. That is the goal. Um, nice. Wear your red shirt, Dad. I love you. I'll see you soon. See you in about a week. Less than that. Cheese, it's nice to see you as well. Thank you for being here. I don't think my head looks like a coconut, just for the record. But that's my own personal opinion. We're going to just give it a bit more time, wait to see who joins. And again, I have a lot of different things I want to talk about. A few different notes of some things I think we in Freemasonry need to keep in mind. So for the time being, though, we're going to wait to see who jumps on, who wants to say hello. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral? I'd love to hear it. Interesting enough, the Pope has said some stuff that I want to talk about now. Obviously, the Catholic Church has some interesting opinions on Freemasonry, which I don't agree with. But the Pope did say some things about artificial intelligence, which I think are relevant to Freemasonry and to civic institutions in general, which I'm going to talk about. Being nice is a good thing. Unfortunately, many people are not nice on social media. Oh my gosh, I haven't read that book in so long. I liked it when I read it. I'd like to read it again. But I'm hard pressed to talk about it because it's just been so long since I've had the chance to read it. Hello, Tim Miller. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. Please take a moment, hit like, hit subscribe. Any thoughts on Freemasonry? Let me know. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a great day. Like I said, I got back. Oh, looks like the race is finished. Here's the first part. I just got back from beautiful excuse me, Detroit, Michigan, and then Illinois. I love Detroit, Nathan, and Detroit is absolutely beautiful. Um, Believe me, Detroit doesn't get the respect it deserves. I wrote about how much I love Detroit and Michigan in general on my channel, so on my Medium page. So I hope you guys will check that out. Medium.com, Square Comes Promotions. I hope you'll consider checking that out because believe me, Detroit is beautiful. It has one of the, in my opinion, one of the best. Well, I mean, it has the biggest Masonic temple in the world. That's not even my opinion, and it has um, an absolutely stunning and gorgeous and beautiful Masonic building and wonderful people, friendly people, incredible architecture. I don't think it gets the respect it deserves, unfortunately. So I'm working on it. Well, that sucks. Unfortunately, let's not let that event take away from how wonderful Detroit is at the same time. Still, I mean, getting stabbed sucks. So I'm very sorry to hear that. We're going to give it a bit more time. Wait till you. And I will say, I travel all the time. I'm proud of all the travel that I do. One thing that I try to keep in mind when it comes to my travel is I always try to be safe and respectful and responsible with the travel. Registering with Canadians abroad, keeping copies of my documents safe and secure while I'm traveling, having digital copies, having my phone locked so people can't use it if they steal it, things like that. It's little things, but it matters quite a bit. And I think we as Freemasons have responsibility as well that when we're traveling, we travel responsibly and safely and respectfully. It does. And there are still, like, I don't want to be, it still absolutely has, unfortunately, problem areas. But when I think about what it was like 20 years ago versus what we see today, I mean, it's just completely different. So, give it the respect it deserves, I think, for turning it around after so much struggle. It deserves it. And welcome. Thank you for being here. Please take a moment, hit like, hit subscribe, super chat. Let me know how you're doing. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral? I'd love to hear them. No, Dominus, the Order of Women Freemasons does not care about that stuff at all, nor should it. Um, it's about the internal, not external qualifications. It's about are you a good person and honorable, whether male or female. That's the end of it. Um, Nothing, it's not about anything like that, nor should it be. Thank you, Azorian, and thank you for being here. Please take a moment to hit the like and subscribe button, especially if you are new to the stream. I hope you're doing well. I know you're not new to the stream, but thank you for being here. I had an excellent trip recently to Detroit and then uh, Glenview, Illinois. I'm going to talk about some of that trip, but also some things I've seen online. Once we're done the first 60 minutes of the live stream, we just hang out, chat about whatever. So we're not looking for purity. That's silly, Dominus. That's a silly thing to look for. I would not want to look for quote unquote purity. I just want people to be, honorable, and ultimately it's a leap of faith. You can never know for sure. My goal simply has to be do after I get to know them, do I think that they are of good intentions? And ultimately you just take a leap of faith. You can never know 100% for sure. Which is okay, by the way, to never be able to know for sure. I do think there's probably an interesting argument in making personality testing. I think there's probably a value in that because curiosity and intuition is probably a helpful thing when it comes to likelihood of enjoying Freemasonry. No, we do not perform any magic. Hypno, I love Detroit too, so I'm with you on that one 100%. Detroit is an absolutely incredible place. I adore it. So, yes, I support you in that 100%. We're going to give it a bit more time. No, we do not do necromancy either. Some Freemasons do, Nathan, some don't. Just depends. All right, we're going to give it a bit more time. As always, wait to see who joins. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, let me know while we wait for, more people to show up for the first 60 minutes to be finished so I can start on my specific talking points. Manilos, hitting the like and subscribe button is signy worthy as well. So I prefer the term invocations. Different jurisdictions have different ways they start. Some do, some don't. Within initiations of new candidates, there's usually an invocation before each degree or during each degree. But not, I mean, in the case of, for example, emulation, there's usually not a prayer or invocation before the degree starts or before the meeting starts. There is a ritual, which, there is a ritual, but if you want to argue there's kind of a prayer of a sort, I think ritual could always be viewed as a type of prayer, but it's not religious, it's secular. I don't know what that means. One prayer is Jesus was. I don't know what that means. I mean, you're not going to be speaking as to like the validity of one's faith or not, right? Saying Jesus was just a man would be saying that there's something invalid about the Christian faith, which isn't what we should be doing. So, no, I'm not sure what that. I'm not sure to what you're referring. Now, again, I have been part of many different Masonic rituals. I've never heard any Masons say definitively Jesus was just a man. Because, again, that would be disparaging one's religious beliefs, which is not something Freemasonry should do. So I'm not sure to what you're referring. Once again, please take a moment, hit like, hit subscribe. Thank you for being here. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, let me know. Once we're done the first 60 minutes, we're going to start on our specific talking points. And there's a few things I want to bring up because I think there's some really cool things worth exploring in the news and on social media. I've never heard anybody say that Jesus was just a man. Again, Freemasonry is not going to be reviling anyone's religion, nor should it be. It may say, I mean, and it wouldn't even be in a prayer. Now, I've never heard that in any type of prayer. Now, it may be that they're, in a Masonic meeting, they were discussing or they were saying, not even in, I guess I can't think of to what, I'm trying to think of to what you're referring, and I can't. It's not something of which I've ever heard of or am aware of, so no. Hello, Clark Kent. Thank you for being here. Hit like and subscribe. I mean, I think, unfortunately, roots, many times Freemasons just prefer the idea of being quiet. I don't think it's helpful or healthy for the fraternity if we want it to grow. So I'm happy to advertise and promote the benefits of Freemasonry, both at a personal level and a community level, or a personal level and a communal level. So And I think it's important that we as Freemasons always be able to do so. Even if we're not comfortable talking about how it was important to us on a personal level, I think we should be willing to discuss it on a community level and the benefits we see to the community as a whole. But I think sometimes historically there's just been this tendency to want to be quiet about Freemasonry. Some of that came from is like a hangover from what we saw in World War II, where Germany outlawed Freemasonry and would in fact persecute Freemasons. Some of that is because concerns about conspiracy theories, and some of that is Freemasons just become, have a tendency to want to be, unfortunately, very quiet sometimes. And by being quiet, I think they do sometimes a disservice to the craft. I mean, the idea of wanting a lot of money, that's not what Freemasonry is about. If anybody is offering you any degrees in exchange for money, it's almost certainly a scam. So you need to be really careful of that. Freemasons should never be offering money in exchange for degrees. Um, so, yeah, I'm not really sure why they would say that other than it's again, it sounds to me like your friend was part of a scam organization based on what I'm hearing. Because Freemasons should not be offering money in exchange for degrees, nor should they be speaking ill of anyone's religion or religious beliefs. Well, when you say they asked for thousands, I don't know what that. It sounds like for decades he was being scammed. I don't know. Like, I'm not a 33rd degree. Now, to join the different rights or the different levels, if you want to use that term in Scottish Rite, because you have your Lodge of Perfection, you have your Rose Croix, and then you have your consistory. You have to pay your initiation fees for each one. Mine was relatively inexpensive, and they're life memberships. But it wasn't like I was told to pay money and then you get these degrees. It was first and foremost, are you interested in joining? Are you going to bring credit to Scottish Rite? And after you've been accepted through a ballot, you can look at paying your dues. The idea of being asked for money up front and then we'll make you a 33rd does not sound legitimate to me. So I can't speak for what happened with your friend, but it sounds not legitimate. Okay, then maybe they just do things differently there, but it's not the way I would be very hesitant. Again, if somebody's saying, we'll make you a 33rd degree if you pay, thousands of dollars, that sounds illegitimate to me. I'm not saying it's not possible that to be a 33rd, they'll ask you, for initiation fees because 33rd is a special order, but the idea of it being thousands, I don't know, but again, many lodges are looking at increasing their dues, and many Masonic organizations are looking at increasing their fees to cover costs. So maybe this is an example of the lodge increasing the costs, or the 33rds increasing the initiation fees to cover additional work within the Scottish Rite. But first and foremost, the way that admission and the way that advancement in Freemasonry should always work is first and foremost based on the internal qualifications of the candidate and of the applicant well before anything related to anything financial or how much money you have to provide. 33rd is an honorary title. I mean, it's a degree in Freemasonry. It's an invitational degree, but many people will talk about the 33rds as being like the Supreme Council, which it is as well. Hold on. You have to be a 32nd first to be part of consistory. Again, I always get the names mixed up between Canada, Northern Masonic jurisdiction, and Southern Masonic jurisdiction. Right. Basically, a way to think about it is a honorary title. It's basically recognition for outstanding service to the fraternity or community. It is, I'm trying to think of the titles of it. It is, in Northern Masonic jurisdiction, it is Sovereign Grand Commander. I'm looking it up because I forget what it is now. Because there's Southern, Northern, and Canadian. So Northern Masonic jurisdiction, it's Sovereign Grand Inspector General. Southern jurisdiction, Sovereign Grand Inspector General as well. England and Wales Inspector General. Canada, Sovereign Grand Inspector General. Let me look up the different ones because now I want to check them again. Degree, structures, Canada versus Northern Masonic jurisdiction versus Southern Masonic jurisdiction. There should be a chart. So we have the Lodge of so Canada, my Supreme Council of Canada, which is very similar to Southern Masonic jurisdiction. It's Lodge of Perfection, 4th degree to 14th degree, Rose Croix, 15th to 18th degree, Consistory, 19th to 32nd, and then Sovereign Grand Inspector General, 33rd degree. Northern Masonic jurisdiction, Lodge of Perfection, Princes of Jerusalem, Chapter Rose Croix, Consistory. And then Southern jurisdiction, Lodge of Perfection, Chapter of Rose Croix, Council of Kadosh, and Consistory. So the biggest difference is in Southern Masonic jurisdiction, it's Council of Kadosh, 19th to 30th. In Canada, it's Consistory. It's interesting enough, Canadian Freemasonry, Canadian Scottish Rite Freemasonry does tend to take more from the Southern Masonic jurisdiction than the Northern Masonic jurisdiction, but we don't have Knights of Kadosh. Hello, Sarsentia. Thank you for being here. So when you say any spiritual practices in Freemasonry, where is it? I missed a lot of stuff. David Solomon, when you say any spiritual practices in Freemasonry, I mean, I guess it depends how you define spiritual. Like, there are many people who may say that their Masonic career is spiritual in nature, the way they view it is spiritual. I don't use those terms myself. But again, if you view spiritual as simply anything that brings your spirit joy or which you have a deep and reverent connection to, Freemasonry can be spiritual in the same way music can be spiritual or movies can be spiritual or anything that you love can become a spiritual connection to you. Fraternal greetings are sent to you once again. Thank you for being here. When you say Indian cinema, do you mean watching it? I'd be interested in learning more about Bollywood. It's just not something I watch very often. So Nathan, no, we're not encouraged to recruit at all. To join Freemasonry, we expect people to join of their own free will and accord. That means we're not recruiting them or encouraging them to join. Now, certainly, if somebody asks me about Freemasonry or comes across my channel, I'm happy to talk to them about it, why I love it, why I think it makes the world a better place. And that's something I'm grateful to have the opportunity to do, but that's not the same thing as recruiting them. Roots, maybe. I mean, Roots, what I always say is, local libraries are excellent resources, and very often they will have historical documents related to Freemasonry and Freemasons that you can find through newspaper articles, things like that. And depending on what your grandfather was, he may have been in the news related to a newspaper related to like a Masonic event or celebration, and you can find it that way. However, the best way to do it might just be to find the Masonic Lodge in your area, approach them, and ask them for information about your grandfather, see what they have. They would need to confirm that you are a family member, but that's a good place to start. Good afternoon, Michael Moore. But yeah, local libraries and local historical societies are really valuable tools and really excellent places through which you can learn more about Freemasonry in your area. I was just in Chicago and I stopped by their main library branch. and looked up some newspaper stories about Freemasonry from that time, from the 1800s, when they were building the world's tallest Masonic structure in Chicago. So that was really, really cool. So roots, I mean, look up your father's name, or excuse me, your grandfather's name in newspapers. Go to the local library and ask for the microfilm selection, or try using newspapers.com, or even the Congress of the United States has a really great free service you can use to look up historical newspaper articles. And you might find your father in there, depending on how active he was and the public events that your lodge was holding at the time. PN3UNA, can you say thank you? I mean, I'm wary of doing that because I don't know who Machina is, and I feel like if I don't know who that is, I could get in trouble. Um, who is this person you wish me to thank? Can you hit the like and subscribe button? Whoa, an artist from one of my favorite movies of all time, um, Gremlins 2. If you want to be a magician, you got to pay attention to the moon. So no, let's just calm down with that a little bit. If you want to be a magician, you got to pay attention to the moon. So the moon can be unlucky or lucky, but I like to think we make our own luck. By the way, Michael, are you checking out any of the Grand Prix? I can hear it from my window. Um, it sounds like things are going well. It sounds like they're doing some racing, that's for sure. First of all, I've never heard anybody claim they're going to cut anybody's eyes out. What I will say though is back in the day when I was a worked in a legal aid clinic, I worked with somebody who was getting evicted from their place. And they said they're trying to say that they had paid their rent and the landlord was lying. And they said, um, if I'm lying, you can, I'll rip my tongue out and you can kill me, or may lightning strike me and kill me. No, they weren't being literal. They were simply expressing, they were using the metaphor of physical harm or physical punishment as a way to express how serious they were in the things that they were saying and how serious what they took, what they were saying. Freemasonry is the same way. Whether there are or are not any references to physical penalties, none of them are literal, right? Rather, it's meant to express the seriousness of what we're saying and the oath we're taking. Yeah, Freemasonry is metaphorical. I mean, and we do that every day in our day-to-day lives. I mean, cross our heart, hope to die. We don't literally hope to die, nor are we literally putting any crosses on our heart. We're metaphorically, or, cutting our heart, we're metaphorically speaking to express the importance of the things that we're saying. Um, Now, church may or may not be metaphorical. It depends how you take it and what your religious belief is, but that's for another day. 79, whether I am or not is irrelevant. What I am is a Freemason. 79 Bronco, are you a subscriber? That's my question to you. And if you're not, for heaven's sakes, why aren't you a subscriber? Hit that subscribe button. I'm getting close. I made it over 4,050, so thank you for that. Now we're en route to 5,000. That's the next goal. Um, Lord, I mean, again, it depends on what your view is, Nathan. Some, like, if you're of the Christian faith, you would say there exists a hell because there simply exists a hell. It's not, it's just a reflection of reality. If you're not necessarily religious, um, you may say it's meant as you may view it as being meant as a metaphor or as a way to encourage people to believe. It's your personal beliefs that will decide. Lord Korea, if you're a dictator, you can hit like and subscribe. It doesn't stop you from subscribing. Again, it's possible if that's what you believe, but if you're a Christian, what you'll believe is it's simply a reflection of reality, and it's not. It's just when the churches preach about it, they're simply trying to warn their believers to repent, lest they spend eternity. It just depends on what you believe. But the point is, we as Freemasons should not be reviling anyone's religious beliefs. Um, Whether you believe in hell as literal place, as a metaphor, or as anything in between. Is Hiram significant? The planet beat mob? Please hit like and subscribe. I mean, I assume you're referencing Hiram Abiff. He is an important figure within Freemasonry, again, as a metaphor or apocryphal, but he is meant to represent a lot of qualities that Freemasons should hold: steadfastness, good work, quality work. Ultimately, he's kind of a symbol of stonemasonry and of our stone Masonic secrets, applied metaphorically. I did, Sarsentia. It was wonderful. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I hope that you'll follow me on Medium. No, South Africa was absolutely incredible. I had a blast and I loved being there. Maybe one day I'll get to return. Who knows? It'd be really fun if I did. That's for sure. And I'd enjoy it very much. You are welcome, Planet B Mob. And the other Hiram that's important, by the way, is Hiram, King of Tyre, who's also important to Freemasonry because he provided men and materials to King Solomon's temple, including cedar from Lebanon, but also stone. Obviously, Freemasonry evolved from stonemasonry, so any examples of stone work is going to be considered incredibly important, whether it be, stonemasonry of the pyramids or King Solomon's temple. We don't know whether it existed for sure. We know the pyramids existed. Whether King Solomon's temple existed or not, we're not necessarily sure of, but I still think it's kind of cool to use as a metaphor. Um, Use as a metaphor to help us better understand the value of what we do within Freemasonry and Freemasonry in general. As a metaphor, right? As in the sense that King Solomon's temple, whether you think it really existed or is a metaphor, is an example of building something out of stone. We build our own temples metaphorically in our own lives for the same purposes. Hello, Corvin. Thank you for being here. I hope you'll hit the like button. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral? I'd love to hear it. Another 10 minutes, then there's a few things I wanted to discuss and talk about. So I hope that you will stick around for that. Although I also have to get myself some sleep because it's been a very long couple days with very little sleep. And I am thinking about trying to get back over to Detroit to check out the Grand Prix and some of the really cool things they have happening there. But Sarsentia, please follow me on Medium. It's completely free to do so. So I hope you'll consider it. They usually drink. I mean, some Masons drink, some Masons don't. I'm a Freemason, never had a drink of alcohol, in fairness. So it just depends on the individual and their preferences. Well, thank you, Barry. I hope I'm handsome enough to earn a hitting of the like and subscribe button. We're going to give it another 5 minutes. I'm going to jump on with my main topic, my main talking point. Just wait to see who else finds us. Don't forget to share this stream with others. All that stuff, believe me, helps out big time and is truly grateful. Or for which I would be truly grateful, I should say. I call it potent frankincense. Well, I mean, call it what you want. Just be careful with it. Any substance can be dangerous if abused, right? We know that's the case. To Barry's money, I don't know what your channel is about, but I should look into it. And I do appreciate you subscribing to me very much. Is mayonnaise I don't know what that means at all. Mayonnaise is gross, I'll tell you that. I am not a big fan of mayonnaise as a condiment. I think it's disgusting. We once got into a big debate on here a little while ago about fry sauce because that is mayonnaise and ketchup, which I think is gross. And so I was saying you're basically ruining ketchup. And by the way, ketchup should also never be put on a hot dog, nor should mayonnaise for that matter. Both of them are gross, and neither of them belong on a hot dog. I'm taking a stand right now on behalf of all my friends in Chicago. Sarsentia, hey, trials by fires are great. They're great ways to learn. Just breathe, enjoy it, you'll be fine. I mean, don't take it too seriously. It's fun. Freemasonry should be fun, should be an enjoyable experience. And visitation, honestly, is by far and away the most fun experience you can have within Freemasonry. So enjoy it. You'll have a great time, I promise. Um, and I hope that you do. You have to handle and by the way, I'm not just referring to marijuana, I'm referring to almost any substance, or any substance really. Like I take prescription medication, I need to make sure I'm taking those prescription medications responsibly. Just because they're prescribed doesn't mean I get to kind of cheat and not take them responsibly or not ignore the side effects. I also need to talk to my doctor regularly about them if I have any concerns. That's also true or that's also the same thing with, over-the-counter medications. I don't care whether it's Tylenol. It's still a medication. You still have responsibility to make sure you're not abusing it and make sure you're talking to your doctor if you have any concerns about it. Um, all of these things. You have a responsibility to be responsible. Um, so yeah, even caffeine. I mean, one of the areas that I have a lot of concerns with lately or the last couple of years, has been energy drinks. I mean, those are super strong. And if you're not being careful with them, I think you can potentially cause yourself a lot of harm. Of course, to be one, ask one, Planet Beat Mob. You can absolutely ask a Mason to join. But I would say, I mean, this is splitting hairs a little bit. Don't ask a Mason about joining. Ask a Mason about wanting to learn more and getting to know the lodge better. Because before you join, there's an application process. It's about you getting to know the lodge and the lodge getting to know you. But certainly, if you're interested in Freemasonry, absolutely you should ask a Mason and say, I'm interested in joining. I'd like to learn more about it. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they think that somebody else has to invite them to join. That's not how it works. You need to take the first step and ask them. Drinking lots of water is absolutely important. I'm trying to be healthier in my day-to-day life, and that includes by drinking a lot more water. So I love coffee as well, Corvin. Coffee is my favorite thing, but we want to be careful we're not abusing caffeine, especially those energy drinks. I think those can be dangerous if we're not just paying attention for ourselves. Thank you, Sarsentia. I appreciate that very much. Everything helps, believe me, including the medium follows. Um, right, all of this stuff, believe me, it helps very, very much. I would love to see that picture, Sarsentia. I absolutely love to see that picture. Um, so Andre, Explorist, please hit like and subscribe. When you ask what Hiram Abiff, I mean, Hiram Abiff is probably a legendary or apocryphal figure. I don't think he actually existed. But within Freemasonry, he's a very important figure that's meant to represent certain qualifications, primarily honor, dedication, the benefit of stonemasonry, craftsmanship, hard work, dedication. In fact, Hiram Abiff, a lot of people think Hiram Abiff is mentioned in the Bible. He's not. What's mentioned in the Bible is Hiram, and people just, Masons added the last name. But I would say he's an apocryphal figure within Freemasonry meant to represent certain qualifications, maintaining the privacy of our ceremonies, hard work, dedication, leadership, things like that. Bojack, thank you for the gold coin, by the way. Every Masonic jurisdiction has different rules. I think the best Masonic jurisdiction and the best rules come from the United Grand Lodge of England, which in 2018 stated very clearly that trans men are allowed to be part of the fraternity. I think that's not just the best approach, I think that's the right approach. And I can say I would have zero problem sponsoring a trans man to join the lodge and would sit next to them. Well, King Hiram is a different figure. King Hiram of Tyre, was from Lebanon, and he was one of the individuals who assisted King Solomon in the creation and the building of King Solomon's temple through the providing of material and men. So there's that as well. I don't know what astrotheology is, Planet Beat Mob. Sure, we have gay Freemasons, we have straight Freemasons. It makes no difference whether you're gay or straight to being a Freemason, nor should it, by the way. They're all welcome. I mean, I think certainly within the Bible, there's probably references to astrology, like the star that guided the wise men to Jesus's birth. Not the North Star, but I forget what's the Star of Bethlehem, I think it's called. I mean, Sogo, wives are very active and very much part of Freemasonry. Your wife could join Eastern Star, and I know many wives that do, or your wife could join the Order of Women Freemasons. I found that as well, Barry's Money. Not every Mason, but many do. That's for sure. It just depends on how active you are going to be in the craft and what you're going to take out of it. Being a Freemason is like being active member of a gym. Like, it's not just being a member that matters. It's how active you choose to be in being the member and how active you are when in choosing to show up. So women can join Eastern Star, which is for women, including for wives of Freemasons. Women can also join Order of Women Freemasons, which is a women's Masonic group. It's very prevalent in England at the moment. Or, I mean, they can take part in, family nights, ladies' nights, things like that. So there's lots that they can do, without question. But that is one of the biggest mistakes when people have this idea that Freemasonry is exclusively for men. That's simply not the case. I look forward to seeing the picture, and I'm grateful that you send that to me. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to see more people taking part and more people taking pictures of their buildings and sharing them, because our buildings are so beautiful. I think we need to be sharing more of them. Yes, I got a big forehead. Please hit like and subscribe. I would truly appreciate it. So there are a few things I want to talk about within Freemasonry. We are now at the 1 hour mark in, so I guess I can. First and foremost, I have talked a ton on this channel about the importance of maintaining our physical health as Freemasons. The healthier we are as Freemasons, the better we will be enabled to A, take care of our Masonic responsibilities, B, take care of our community, and C, set an example for our community, which every Freemason should do. On top of that, physical health runs parallel to social health with Freemasonry supports. Therefore, if we want to be socially healthy, psychologically healthy, we also need to be physically healthy. No, Andre, Freemasonry is not a cult. Amelia Summit, welcome back. With that in mind, there's different ways to be physically healthy. There's physical health in terms of, heart health and low cholesterol and physical fitness. There's also taking care of our teeth and dental health. I want to remind people that in Canada, Canadian Dental Care Plan members must renew by June 1st, so coming up Monday. If you have dental coverage through Canadian Dental Care Plan, you have until June 1st to renew their coverage by proving they still qualify for the program. Otherwise, you need to submit a new application, and you are not covered until they're pre-approved. So there will be a gap in your coverage. The federal dental insurance program is available to anyone who doesn't already have coverage through an employer and whose net adjusted family income is under $90,000. To prove you fall under the income requirement, you need to have submitted your 2025 tax return prior to the June 1st renewal deadline. Otherwise, you will see your coverage end. In order to renew your Canadian dental care coverage. You must still meet all four of the program's requirements. Um, in addition to not having access to private insurance, falling under the household income threshold, and being a Canadian resident for tax purposes with a filed return for 2025, you must ensure your spouse or common law partner also submitted a tax return last year. Um, so, if you are Canadian and you're a Freemason, if you're Canadian at all, and your net income is under $90,000 per year, and you don't have access to employer-based dental coverage, you can qualify for the Canadian Dental Coverage Plan, which is incredibly important as a way to maintain your health and well-being. The last thing we want to have is Masons missing lodges because they're in the middle of some type of dental emergency, needing to get a tooth pulled or an infection, all because they did not take care of their teeth when they could have. So take care of your dental health. Doing so will help you be a better Freemason, a better community member, and help you just be healthier in your day-to-day life. I am not a 33rd degree Freemason. I am the highest degree in Freemasonry, which is the 3rd degree Freemason. 3rd degree or Master Mason. That is the highest degree within Freemasonry. I also wanted to mention something I saw, which I thought was really, really interesting. I've talked about this a few times in the past on the stream. I want to mention it again. We are dealing with a lot of scams right now throughout the world, but there's a lot of Masonic scams that are happening right now, which is people impersonating or pretending to be Freemasons for the purpose of trying to scam people out of money, or they'll pretend to be a Freemason and they'll contact other Freemasons and they'll ask money, including high-ranking Freemasons. Like they'll pretend to be a Grand Master and they'll contact a Mason and they'll say, I'm Grand Master so-and-so, I need you to send me money ASAP for whatever reason, as part of your Masonic commitment. Grand Lodge officers, Grand Lodge members, Grand Lodges will never contact you and request money from you personally, nor will they contact you through the secretary to request money, nor will they request gift cards, nor will they make any type of unsolicited contact. That is not how it works. That's not how it operates. However, many people have stolen the names of Grand Lodge members, the pictures of Grand Lodge members, and used them to create scams through social media or through email. Unfortunately, though, it's not even that they're stealing their pictures or their names. It's now got to the point where they can steal their voice through AI voice cloning scams. Right? This is a story from CNN. A California mom says she was scammed out of thousands of dollars this month after receiving a call that sounded like her daughter in distress. She now suspects it was an artificial intelligence generated hoax. She's one of many who have been targeted by so-called voice cloning scams, as AI tools allow anyone to create a convincing replica of someone's voice with only a few seconds of real audio. Americans have lost more than $893 million to AI-related scams last year, including voice cloning attacks, along with AI generating phishing emails, romance scams, or other hoaxes, according to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Scammers can mimic anyone from family members and friends, co-workers, or professional service workers. So again, if you receive a phone call from somebody and it sounds to you like they're a Mason, it sounds like a Mason and they're claiming to be in distress and claiming to need money immediately, make sure that you slow down, verify, confirm it's them. A good way to do that is to hang up and call them back at a trusted number to see, hey, did you just call me? Are you in distress? Can I help? It may very well be that that brother simply had his voice cloned and is not actually in any distress, right? If they're asking you to do things that sound illegitimate, if they're saying things that are setting off your spider sense, slow down. Call them back at a number that you can confirm is theirs. I mean, if, for example, it's a Mason who's claiming to be somebody claiming to be a Grand Master, there should be a phone number you can call them back at that Masons know, like the Grand Lodge phone number, for example. Again, the old way to do it was they steal that person's name and they steal that person's picture and they create a fake social media account pretending to be that person, pretending to be that grandmaster, or they send an email out signed as that person. Now it's gotten to the point where they can take that person's phone number, or sorry, take that person's voice, auto generate it, and send an email to you, or sorry, give you a phone call saying, I'm so and so, and, send me money as the Grand Master. So you need to be really careful of all of scams in all different forms, whether it be AI voice automated scams, using a person's name improperly, or using a person's picture to create a fake social media account. Always make sure that if you ever feel like you're being pressured to do something quickly, you slow down, you verify, and trust your gut a little bit. If something sounds to you illegitimate or not correct, don't feel like you need to rush. There should be a way to verify the information. And so seeing this, it's one of those things that's so scary because it's like now not only are we dealing with the ability of scammers to impersonate people via email or via social media and pictures. Now it's via phone calls and their voices as well. So just keep that in mind. I've been talking a lot lately about scams, how to recognize them and how to avoid them. It could be coming through your phone, literally. It's like that movie, When a Stranger Calls. It could literally be coming through your phone. So keep that in mind as well. Don't know who that is, Bartholomew. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, and something I think is just as important, good, the Sublime Brother, that's exactly how you should do it. Reporting them is really important. Checking is really important. So good for you. And welcome the Sublime Brother. If you're not done so yet, please hit like, please hit subscribe. I would truly, truly appreciate it. Now, there's something else I want to talk about. Spare it. This chat is about Freemasonry. Talking about the ways it was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located, and promoting stories of Masonic interest. Hello, it's Memridge. Please hit like and subscribe. Spare it Crow. Please hit like and subscribe as well. There's one more thing I want to talk about. Recently, the Pope, and I know the Catholic Church isn't a fan of Freemasonry, but that's okay. That doesn't mean there's nothing that we can't learn from it. Recently put out a papal encyclopedic. I do well, Lyndall. How do you do? About artificial intelligence. Now, I've been asking and talking to a lot of brothers, what do they think about artificial intelligence? What are the values to artificial intelligence? What are the dangers to artificial intelligence, both for Freemasonry and civic institutions in general? So everybody, Vinicius, will have their own view on the purpose of Freemasonry. To me, ultimately, it's the same as the purpose of getting together to friends on a Friday night. It's to be happy and to enjoy one another's company. We just created a very formalized structure to do that. But that's human nature. When Aristotle said man is a political animal, he didn't mean man is left wing, right wing, center. What he meant is it is our human nature to want to develop and create organizations and structures that have some political components to them. In that structures, organization, being part of something, it's kind of our nature. Like if you're going to get together with your friends on a Friday night and you do it every Friday night, at a certain point you may develop certain rituals and ceremonies to go with getting together, from how you dress to where you go to the type of food and drinks you order. Maybe you decide if we're getting together every Friday night anyways, maybe we want to add some charitable work to that sometimes, or pass a hat to help a brother who's in distress, or his family's in distress, or a friend who's in distress, Maybe want to visit other friend groups. It kind of just formalizes the process. Well, so be it. Or 2K9. If you're going to make fun of me, you could at least hit like and subscribe. So anyways, the Pope came out and I thought he said some really interesting things that I think could apply to Freemasonry as much as anything else, as much as the Catholic Church in this case. One thing Pope Leo the 14th said, this is on Twitter or X, hashtag AI can be a valuable tool, and at the same time, it calls for a measured and vigilant approach. The speed and simplicity with which practical assistance can be accessed undoubtedly makes life easier. Yet they can also encourage excessive reliance and the search for ready made answers and weaken personal creativity and judgment, which I think is very true. Pope Leo the 14th also said, artificial intelligences do not undergo experiences, do not possess a body, do not feel joy or pain, do not mature through relationships, and do not know from within what love, work, friendship, or responsibility mean, nor do they ultimately have a moral conscience. Since they do not judge good and evil, grasp the ultimate meaning of situations, or bear responsibility for consequences, they may imitate or even simulate, but they do not understand what they produce, for they lack effective relational and spiritual perspectives through which human beings grow in wisdom. Hashtag Magnifica Humanitas. The question is, and I do wonder this, do you need to undergo experiences, possess a body, feel joy or pain, mature through relationships, and know from within what love, work, friendship, or responsibility means to be a Freemason? Because I do wonder if artificial intelligences ever became self-aware in some sense, ever developed some type of conscience, would that equate with a, would having the consciousness be enough to potentially apply to join Freemasonry? Like, what happens if we got an email from an artificial intelligence, a conscience AI, stating it want to be a Freemason? Would we be able to welcome it? Even something like it does not undergo pain or feel pain. We experience metaphorical, not literal pain, or we describe, the penalties within Freemasonry in a metaphorical sense on pain. Could a AI understand what that means? Could an AI understand what it means to possess a body? Because within Freemasonry, the physical self is considered incredibly important, as is the internal self, right? Not the physical self in the sense of, like, we don't care whether you're fat or skinny, tall or short. We do care, though, that you have a physical self that is referenced in Masonic rituals. We talk about work in a metaphorical sense. If an AI cannot understand what love, work, friendship, or responsibility mean, could it understand what brotherhood means? Since it does not have a moral conscience, could it understand what it means to have an obligation or an oath that speaks to your conscience? Or when it becomes self-aware and has a consciousness, will it then understand things like work and friendship and brotherhood and maturity through relationships? I don't know, but it's really interesting. FERPs, that's up to the border agents, but I mean, so long as you have your passport and are complying with all of the requirements to enter the country, I don't see personally why not. But that's not up to me, that's up to the border guards. Just keep driving, just keep going, just keep working, just keep fighting. Just keep hitting the like and subscribe button, by the way. I don't know. I mean, I'm agnostic as to whether AI can be conscious or not. But I think if it is conscious, a lot of these questions start to matter a lot more. Like, what does it mean to have a moral conscience if you are an artificial intelligence? What does it mean to understand experiences, to not possess a body, right? What do these things mean? Do we need to possess a body to truly be conscious? Anyways, Pope Leo the 14th wrote his whole encyclopedic article on this. I've discussed AI on Medium several times and here as well. Maybe we'll talk about it again on Monday. But I thought that was really interesting as well to keep in mind, and worth exploring. So I'm going to end this stream relatively soon. This is a shorter stream on Friday because I need to get some stuff ready. And then I'm considering heading back across the border to the Grand Prix because I think there may be some interesting things to see there that may be somewhat interesting and relevant to Freemasonry. I don't know. And I'll talk about those things on Monday. For the time being, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Keep everything I talked about in mind because it's all very important. You're not wrong. The Pope talked about that. Just keep driving. He said, yes, it's convenient, but that convenience is coming at a cost. The convenience is coming at a cost of losing critical thinking skills, which I think is probably true, to be honest. So there's a valid point to that, without question. There are Masonic artists. I can't think of any Masonic heavy metal bands. There is Brad Paisley, um, who's the one I always think of. Louis Armstrong, Nat King Cole, they were all Masonic musicians. Mozart, famous Masonic musician as well. Once again, you can hear the Grand Prix happening from outside my window. Hello, Paul. Thank you for being here. You're not wrong, just keep. I mean, I'm 42, so I feel very old. Darn it. When I was growing up, like people were still learning how to drive manual and automatic. But as manual has become more and more prevalent, what we're seeing is, people are less and less aware of how to drive manual. They almost always exclusively know how to drive automatic. I once saw a meme where it was a picture and it said millennial anti-theft device, and it was a automatic stick shift. So, we're seeing it. We're seeing both automatic and we're seeing a lot more, as technology grows, people become more and more challenged dealing with what people took previously for granted. I once heard somebody say it was impossible to write a 10-page paper without AI, which strikes me as insane. I wrote 20-page papers without AI, and these people are saying they can't even do 10. So that's kind of scary. But I think, like everything else in life, there's benefit and drawback to artificial intelligence. And I think we just need, as Freemasons, to think about how we can best use it in the most healthy way possible. Hello, Amelia's Summit. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. And I hope you're having a great day. I'm going to be ending this stream shortly. Like I said, stream is not meant to be as long as other streams because I need to get some rest and get ready to check some stuff out. I've been having a blast, but I definitely need to recover, get ready for some more content, which I'll be producing very shortly. Um, I mean, it's interesting that you say that. The idea that having your AI co-pilot felt forced. Like I'll say my AI tools, especially on YouTube, I found very helpful. Um, so that's a good thing for me. AI can't think creatively. That's true, Namroff, at the moment. I don't know if that means it's always going to be the case. That's my question. Maybe eventually AI will be able to think creatively. And at that point, what does that say for our ability within Freemasonry, right? Or sorry, within creative services? Like, do we have creative art? Can an artificial intelligence ever be creative? I think that's an open question. So I use Google Gemini a fair bit. I also use the YouTube AI tool quite a bit, and it's been very helpful. I could see that being an issue. Just keep driving. Certainly, getting your car hacked while driving would probably suck a lot. That no doubt makes a lot of sense to me. Not right now. I wonder if it ever could. I'm agnostic on this idea as to whether it could or not, to be honest. I know a lot of people would disagree with that, but I do wonder sometimes. I've I'll see. I mean, keep in mind though, Google Gemini gets things wrong. I found that Google Gemini has got things wrong very often, so you need to be kind of careful about that. I will always be a pro technology guy as someone in a wheelchair, right? Like I will always be a pro technology guy, and that includes AI, that includes anything. But I think it's about managing the short term, right? And that's true for like our jobs, work. Like how do we in the short term manage to make sure we're not harming people ending up out of work, that type of thing, right? But I think overall, long term technology is always a good thing. Um, but we'll see. Yeah, I've heard of AI hallucinations, which is really interesting to me. I mean, I'm fascinated as to the psychological aspects of it. Like, what does it mean for an AI to hallucinate? Could you understand it in a psychological sense? I wonder about that sometimes. I've never seen this term weird science, but I've heard of it. It's where they create a lady, right? Out of a computer program. I mean, maybe. We'll see. Again, and if they did, let's say a human being is created exclusively out of technology, exclusively out of a computer, would that human be able to join Freemasonry? Either the created human, either out of, the AF and AM Freemasonry, if they created male, or Order of Women Freemasonry, they're created female. I think it'd be really fascinating. NAB, don't do that. And that's, I think, a real danger. Is artificial intelligence, you can train it to be obedient. That's not a healthy approach to take in life, to expect obedience from anybody, right? That's not a healthy approach to take. You shouldn't expect obedience from your friends, from your family, from your partners. You should expect honesty and you should expect support, but that's not the same thing as obedience, nor should it be. Yeah, which what does that mean psychologically? Like if you were to take a trained psychologist, put them in front of a AI and have the trained psychologist treat the AI like a person on their couch, either speaking to it and using voice prompts or through written questions, what would the psychologist think? What would the psychologist believe? Especially if, let's say, you didn't tell them it was like almost a Turing test. You didn't tell the psychologist it was speaking to a artificial intelligence. You simply sat the psychologist down and had it engage in a discussion as though we're meeting with a new patient. What would the psychologist come away with in terms of insights, especially if it started to hallucinate? It'd be really fascinating. And again, I'm very much ambivalent about this. I do think there could come a time when artificial intelligence reaches a point where it's self aware. We can assume it's conscious, whether it is or not, we don't know. We can make assumptions that it is. At which point, I think we need to have a real look in the mirror about how we treat it. Because I don't want to be pissing off an artificial intelligence. I don't want to piss off anybody, but especially not an artificial intelligence, just for the record. That's true right now. Just keep driving. That's one of its dangers. Will that be true forever? I'm not sure. I'm genuinely not sure if that will always be the case. Just keep driving. Maybe if a artificial intelligence ever becomes conscious and self-aware, it will, as a consequence of that, develop some type of morality. It's possible. I don't think it's impossible. And I'd be fascinated to see what that looks like. I think using a book, a pen, and your paper is nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's a good thing and good for you. All right, this has been a blast. This has been a shorter stream. I wanted to talk about those three things: Canada's dental plan, voice scams, the danger of voice scams, and what the Pope said about AI and how I think it applies to Freemasonry. But now I need to get some stuff ready. I have a very busy afternoon coming up, so I'm going to be taking off for now. I know it's a short stream, but thank you everybody for being here, and thank you everybody for 2 incredible days. 2 incredible days. And more incredible days to come. All right, I'll see you guys later. Have a great night. Thank you so much for being here. And hit like, hit subscribe. I think AI and Freemasonry is fascinating. Just keep driving. EPA. Actually, hold on. Before I go, I'm going to take care of one thing quickly. I wrote about Freemasonry and artificial intelligence. I'm going to leave the link for you so you can find it if you want to check it out. And I hope you'll follow me on Medium. Those things are really, really helpful. The more places you follow me on social media, whether it be Medium, Facebook, Instagram, the more opportunities it is to grow Square and Compass promotions. So let me see what I can do. I'm just trying to find it now. I did 2 stories. One, artificial intelligence drawing about Freemasonry, and artificial intelligence image creation, and the other being like written prompts. So let me see. Here it is. We asked AI about Freemasonry. Here's what it said. Well, thank you for that. Oops. All right, well, let's see if I can head to my channel directly to find it. Well, ChatGPT for law is crazy. Don't do that. I've heard that, ChatGPT starts to hallucinate cases that don't actually exist, which is one of the ways that people are being found out. Let's see. All right, if you type this link into the description, you should find it. I don't know if it's there or not. DL, it does not. It points to the subscribe button and the like button. Let's try this one more time. All right, I think it came through. There it is. Try copying and pasting that. See if you can find the article. Follow me on Medium. I'd really appreciate it. You can get my stories through social media as well. Yeah, that'd be a thing. That would be a thing, EPA. I appreciate that. Well, Mopor, this is not about subscribing to this YouTube channel. This is about Medium, which is written content. I have a Medium page as well, and I produce written content thereon, and I'd appreciate it if you would find me there. And support me on Medium as well. And I'm 3 subscribers away from 4,060. What is Freemasonry? Freemasonry is a civic institution or a civic group that has existed for over 300 years. It's a club, but it's a very honorable and ancient club that's done a lot of good in the world. I did not hear about that, but it wouldn't shock me. I think it's also the case that AI can be used to harm people if we're not being careful. Thank you, Mopor. That's incredibly kind of you. Let me just put the link in the chat so you can find it. Medium.com. It's free to do this, by the way, at Adamson-Cameron. Medium.com/Adamson-Cameron. So Mopor, please follow me on Medium. Medium.com/@Adamson-Cameron. Everybody else, please do so as well. Follow me here, social media. I'd really appreciate it. All right, guys, thank you all. It's been a blast. I will talk to you all very soon. And you're right, AI is taking jobs, which is scary for a lot of people. But I believe we can sort it out. I absolutely think long-term we can sort it out. It's just the short-term challenges. All right, I'll see you guys later. Thank you all. I'll talk to you soon.